So, you've completed your audio project. Way to go! Save a copy of your Audacity project to your computer so that you can go back and make edits as necessary. Remember, at CJRU, you'll want to save it into your volunteer folder. So let's just do that now. We're in Frida. We're going to call this one Final because we've made all of the edits that we want to make to it. So to differentiate it from one that was being edited or was in progress. So Audacity projects can't be played on media players or uploaded to web players and are tricky to send from computer to computer. So if you'd like a copy for editing in another software, something like Ableton or Audition, you'll need to mix your project down by exporting it as a WAV file. We're going to be speaking about that later. So once you've finished your project and you're ready to export it and send it around the web or send it to someone else or open it in a different application, you need to make sure that you've edited the metadata. So metadata is data about your audio track that's encoded within it. And it can include the year it was created, the title, the artist, album, track number, genre, description, images even, and more. Metadata can be read by media players, web platforms, and mobile devices. So it's always a good idea to include correct metadata in your file so that it's properly identified wherever it goes. Think of it as your file's identification or its passport. So you can go File, Edit, Metadata, and let's just drag the window in here. So now I can put in the artist name, Frida, track title. We're going to call it tutorial Final. And onwards and onwards. As you can see, there's a couple more things: album title, track number, year, genre, comments. You can probably add different categories as well. And the whole point is that basically when I export it, it's going to have all this information baked into it. So wherever it gets opened, whether that's on a web player or different software, it's going to know exactly who this is by and what it's called. So once we've edited our metadata, the final step is making sure your project is ready to be opened in another software or distributed by exporting it. So the export submenu is under File, and it's going to give you a few options. Export audio. There's also export selected audio if we just grabbed a little bit, or export multiple if we wanted to export our tracks differently. But let's just focus on export audio to keep it simple. Today we're going to be focusing on two format options, which is Mp3 and WAV file. So if you're exporting a file to be edited further in another software, it's best to use the WAV file so that your information will have more information, so that your file will have more information and will therefore be more flexible to different kinds of mixing. WAV file is uncompressed. It's a big, large file with all kinds of information in there. But if you're happy with it and you're ready to distribute it around the web or in other ways over email, through a USB key, it's best to export it as an Mp3 file, a format you're probably already familiar with. It's highly compressed and will have a much smaller file size than the WAV, something like 1/100th of the size, meaning that it's much easier to upload, send, stream, and download. So if you want to send your file, if you want your file to spread far and wide, Mp3 is the format for you. So let's do Mp3 for now, but it's the same thing if we just clicked WAV. We're going to click on it. We're going to choose where we want it to save. Let's say it's going to go into our volunteer folder at CJRU, volunteer, Frida, save. And one more opportunity to edit the metadata before we save it. Okay. And exporting it. And that's it. That's the whole kit and caboodle. If we went into our volunteer folder, not that I'm sure you trust me, but just to show you, if we went into it, we'll see here we have the Mp3, and we could open this in iTunes and VLC, QuickTime Player. We couldn't do that with our Audacity project. Well, that brings us to the end of our tutorial video. I hope it helped you to get comfortable with Audacity and start making your ideas happen. If you have any questions about anything in the video, if you have corrections, things I did wrong, or if you have feedback, please let me know at volunteer@cjru.ca. That's my email address. And if you're not familiar with our station, check us out on the radio dial at 1280 AM in Toronto. CJRU 1280 AM on your internet radio app, or CJRU.ca on the web. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for our next video on recording a PSA.